Summary 1. Anima, interface, and vessel mechanics. So I will preface this first summary video with a bit of a self-introduction. In certain comments on my videos, I made facetious remarks that I don't know anything about philosophy. These were not really jokes. I never read philosophy, and excluding few short YouTube videos, I never really learned anything about philosophy, which is a bit strange considering the theme of this channel. Most of the source that I have is probably just media, gaming, and similar stuff. But I do have interest in engineering, science, and my main work is within the information technology. You can basically argue that it all came to me in a dream. So that's why I switched to very plain language while explaining these concepts, but I will also do these summary videos to provide some deeper exploration of the meaning of certain elements that I presented. So first question will be, what is HPF, or high probability framework? Is it a new philosophy? Is it a faulty model, AGR, a shitpost, or a basis for new future religion? I would say it's a bit of all, to be honest. It is a philosophy from someone that never learned philosophy. It's probably a faulty model, but I think it can be a useful faulty model, at least for assumption at worst case. It has a certain AGR elements that I packed inside of the videos. It is a shitpost in a way, because it's difficult not to shitpost. And I think it has a valid premise for some future way of thinking about reality and our purpose and other important questions. So I will go into more important parts of the high probability framework, and those would be the concept of interface, vessel, and anima. So interface, it's probably the easiest one to understand, as it is basically it already existed, but I was not aware that the concept of qualia exists. But it's pretty much it. It's more sciencey than qualia. An important adjacent concept to interface would be the interface power, which is roughly the sum of the interface ability. It is an imaginary unit for now, because we don't have enough knowledge about the workings of mind to connect this unit to something substantial. So I roughly presented it in an interface video as a combination of memory, intelligence, internal realization of external world, and conceptual understanding. But probably there are a lot more elements to define the interface power. The reason why it is important to define and isolate the concept of interface well is in near future we will have the ability to modify it, which I will present in a future summary video called interface engineering. So I will go into a bit more depth about the reason we have isolated this concept. A second important concept of the high probability framework would be a vessel. So vessel is physical construct that enables generation of interface. So in a humans it would be a brain, in most of mammals and animals it would be a brain. In some lower life forms, ganglion system would be vessel for generating their interface, and in case AGI or super AGI will be able to generate an interface, or it is an interface, then in that case silicon, semiconductors, and informational systems would be a vessel for that kind of interface. And the last concept that I want to elaborate here would be anima, which I didn't know already was taken, because the reason I took this term, I put soul in Google Translate and translated to Latin, you get anima. So not really good with naming. I would also like to mention that the naming idea for the interface came while I was watching the animated series of the same name by Umami, and more specifically it was the episode 7 where electricity goes into Greetings Robotics blimp, and it kind of made me realize that this is very similar to the concept that I had in my mind. I also recommend watching that animated series. It is really absurd and good. I also forgot to mention this reference when I was making the interface video. So to get back to the concept of anima, The best way I can describe it, if you take all the elements of the interface, it's not any of those. So it is the root of sentience, whatever that is. It is extremely small element that would be very difficult to pinpoint for now. So the easiest free explanation that I can give, it's a root of sentience, because like sentience itself gets amplified with interface. So if you're smarter, if you're more evolved, you will understand the reality you're in better, and therefore your experience of existence will be on a higher level. While the anima is the same for human, for any animal, for any conscious entity or being. So there is a couple of models of anima that I will discuss later on, and it would be like the threshold model, the field model, or the retrocausal model that was kind of hinted in the optimization video. One important property of the anima would be no locality, because interface, while it's not really local, but I cannot be really sure about this, the vessel definitely is, as my body is separate from other bodies that exist in the same reality. So in the same way, interfaces have their own abstract locality, as my interface is the sum of my mind basically, and then someone else has completely different interface, or qualia if it's easier for people to follow. So anima would not have locality, because it's universal for all of us. Whatever it is exactly the same for everyone. It is what enables the sentience in the first place. So now, when we elaborated these three concepts, someone will say, well, we cannot ever be sure if anima exists, and there are some speculations about it. I will say that's fine. Someone will argue, well, vessel and interface kind of make no sense, because like you will never know what real physical reality is, because everything you experience is through interface, which I will say I'm unsure about that, but you can use the interface to modify the physical reality, which is why we have these three concepts separate. Because anima, while I roughly defined it, I cannot be sure if it exists, but I can give some options and models in where if it exists, it would be either this or something else, but it can fit within the framework in different versions without causing any problems, as long as it is universal for all the sentient and conscious beings. Interface itself is fairly understandable, as through interface you can manipulate the physical reality. And this is very important, because soon we will be able to do more drastic modifications by using technology. And what I mean by this, in interface video I showed the example of Susan Berry that gained stereoscopic vision, 3D vision, at the age of 40, and before she didn't have it, and it's a massive jump in interface power, because she now has native experience of three-dimensional world. In the same way, very soon we will be able to do direct modifications on human mind, or human brain basically. So we will be probably able to copy memories, which there is already research and technologies to do, at least on mice. We will be able to enhance certain parts of brain, maybe implement some cybernetics. Just imagine having a chip inside of the brain that automatically connects to Wikipedia, or even funnier, to your ChatGPT or any other of your favorite clankers. So very soon we will have these interface expansions that will enable us to achieve greater abilities, and also modify directly, because like if you start deleting certain memories from your mind, you're gonna have direct changes of the interface. So this is why we have these three layers separate. We have anima, which is almost mystical, and I really hate mysticism, but at this point I will not elaborate it further. We will keep it like that. It's a soul in a certain way, to a certain extent. Then you have the interface, which is basically a qualia, which enables you to interact with the physical reality, and vessel, which is made from physical reality, which we never can truly experience. Well, we can, but I will skip that philosophical part. It's not really that necessary. But we use interface to modify the physical reality or the vessel. And very soon we will be able to modify our vessels more precisely, so we will be able to extend it. And therefore, this is why we have these three concepts separately. Regardless if some of these concepts turn out to be the same at the end, it is more advantageous to have them separate to understand their individual interactions. Speaking of interactions, I think the easiest way to imagine how Anima and interface interact would be to present them as a cog and a shaft. So Anima, being universal, is a shaft that powers many individual cog mechanisms, but each cog mechanism is a separate interface that is a separate sentient life. So if you think about an analogy of this interaction, if you can imagine a more powerful interface as a bigger cog, you have a different gear ratio. So the bigger the interface is, the faster the Anima turns, which is the analogy that I kind of theatrically put in the optimization video. It's never clear if Anima powers the interface or if the interface powers the Anima. It could be both, it could be neither. It's not really important. It's a really good analogy to think about this, because you take the interface and you attach Anima to it. That amalgam is called consciousness. So I kind of split the sentience from major cognitive part. And at the end, the interactions become fairly understandable. You have Anima, which is a core of sentience, which enables you to realize that you exist, to experience reality and everything. But of course, it's a very small part, and it is either powered or is powering the interface. And the higher, the more powerful interface is, the more aware Anima becomes. And this is all tied to the vessel complexity. As the more complex vessel, it enables higher power interface, and the higher power interface enables the faster turning of Anima. So the whole framework presents this almost mechanical model of yourself and everyone else within this universe. Hopefully this clarifies some concepts that were a bit vague in the previous videos, and I will continue doing these summaries, and as always, thank you for our time.